Hello, 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 everyone. Happy Tuesday morning. Any sign of turnaround Tuesday? Maybe turnover Tuesday? Market just keeps going higher. Bunch of earnings beats this morning. But we'll see as next week's going to be critical for earnings. We got Bullard actually talking now. We got Bullard out now. What happened? Had some housing numbers out. Red Book coming in less than previous, so the decline in Red Book continues. Bowman at noon, and API crude oil numbers if you're a crude trader, but that's it. Very quiet day you see so far. Mega caps rallying. Healthcare, JNJ with its beat is up. BAC was a beat and up 2%. What else do we have? We have LMT, Lockheed Martin was out with a beat. Goldman Sachs was a beat miss. Goldman Sachs was a beat miss. So groups, technology, comm services, basic materials, consumer cyclical, all leading the charge higher. Fed Watch 2, I wouldn't refresh this because Bullard, we were right after the top of the hour, and Bullard's 86%. We're getting to that level that's just going to be baked in, and if they didn't hike, that would be shocking the markets. We're almost getting back to extreme greed mode. Almost there. Fantastic. By the way, Gamma flipped 41.56. We're at 41.95, so we're really we're approaching some peak positive Gamma. And 4,200, there's a lot of call Gamma sitting right there. So we shall see. It'll be interesting. Remember, OpX this Friday. So we are into, besides any zero-day expiration options adjusting stuff today, we are in some pretty high positive Gamma to sell into some rallies. I mentioned Bank of America, JNJ, Goldman Sachs, Lockheed Martin. I think those were the big ones I wanted to talk about. Remember, Netflix after the close. United Airlines, let's see. Good morning, Patrick. Good morning, Sterling. Back. No slowdown in Toyota market. Maybe I should move to North Carolina and sell Toyotas. What do you think, Sterling? What do you think? Good morning, Martinez. Would I be a good Toyota salesman? I don't know. I like Toyotas. So, good morning, Options 22. Thanks for putting in all the data. What's up, Christo? Did you see Bob's clip on Discord? I just got back on Discord. I had a problem with my Discord account, and I actually just got it straightened out, so I have to now go look. Good morning, Heinrich. All right. That's where we sit right now. I had the US dollar up here because remember I was watching for the secondary reaction. So, I mean, if we really break above the rotation zone now, it could get somewhat interesting after coming off some major low area. But let's jump to the S&P, going through the minor levels. So, on any pullback right now, I'm looking at 41.90 as the first key little area. That's where I'll use the prior harmonics, and then I will use the most recent swing up. But the major support back at 41.73, 41.75. Next key levels, 42.13. We also have 40, what was the high here? 42.0850 to 42.13. And then the super major area is 42.54. We could be setting up for a significant divergence top, and cycles now just slowly climbing back to the top already. Let's just see. I just want to double check how it looks. I know really pre-market volume is incredibly low. There's just nobody willing to sell into this yet. But that's what's so interesting. So on any pullback, that's that 41.73, 41.75. Otherwise, grind higher. There's a very limited news day. We had, again, Bullard was very hawkish this morning, saying his rate hike area is still 5.5 to 5.75. So, don't know if you got to get that in there. 4 in 10 people are cutting back on groceries to buy dog food. Yeah, dog food. Dog food's gotten super expensive. My dog food bill before the pandemic was roughly about 250 to 300 a month. Now it's over 600 a month to feed the dogs. So all that's a clear example. So there wasn't like minor inflation. Good morning, Donald. Oh, thank you, Richard. Wow. Wow, that's interesting, Sterling. If you have time, take a look at March daily double bottom with a daily weekly rotation zone out of the day. If you have, take a look at the March, in what market, Christoph? What do you think of that analyst upgrading NVIDIA so late in the game? Analysts are jokes. Analysts are jokes. Analysts are not traders. Analysts, if you look, they're late to the game with their hiking stuff, and then they're late with their cutting stuff. You know, markets move, and then analysts adjust their stuff. But they don't have to be right on timing at all. See, you could literally, NVIDIA, I don't pay attention to analysts. NVIDIA, you could say, okay, my price target is 300. NVIDIA could drop to 140 again, and then next year rally to 300. They'll be like, I was correct. But who wants to hold it from 273 down to 140 back to 300? I sure as hell don't. So that's why I could care less what analysts think. Oh, I thought you meant the March contract, which wouldn't make Marriott. Then we'll get to the other stuff. Yep. Let's just check it. Let's just check it. Yep. That is going to be probably a trigger double right off the 200. So pay attention to that first stop reduction area. There's some pretty key resistance right around there. But yeah. All right. S&P gave those numbers. Again, on any pullback, that's 75 level. And then right below it, you have 50 to about 56 for major support, which would be back to the rotation zone. We're getting, remember, to top area. I am watching for a topping area, but it's still trailing mode. Remember, weekly cycles still at the top. That's where, besides intraday trades, it would be out of trailing mode from a daily perspective. It's not like load up. It's not like back up the truck right now from a daily perspective. It's not that at all. All right, as I mentioned yesterday, next target on the break higher was the 87.5, which we're bouncing off, which is 32.95, which is just a reaction also, not just because it's the 87.5, because it's the next round, the 13.3 area. But we are in weekly double top territory. This is technically a weekly double top. A weekly double top in the NASDAQ. Now, is that full out? Oh, no. Look, it would just take us back into the full weekly rotation zone to the bottom in the 50. And the second target would take us to the last major breakout level. So, but that's a pattern to watch. Support now. Coming into the open, 13.2. 13.210 to 13.2. And then, 13.180. There's a fair amount of support in there. Below that is 13,072. Now, we're against some major resistance, but we run back up to the open 13,350, and then 13.4, and then 13,454. What else do we sit with? The Dow. The Dow. Let's check something. Yeah, nope. Against key resistance. If it does, looks like we might be putting in at least a little short-term pause in the Dow. 13,271 on a rebound in the open, and then boy, the next major level isn't till about 13,450. The minor levels, again, this is from day trading perspective. This is where I'll use those little harmonics, and that's be for day trading intraday levels. I'd use 34,317 and 34,359. That's just how I like to do it. Key support coming back now at 34,050, 34,037. The Russell 1831. I'm still targeting this 200. Support back at about 1815, then 1810. No fear VIX mode, but this is getting a little overdone with cycles at the bottom. So again, that's going to support possibly the short to medium term topping area. DAX plowing again higher, nearly taking the double off the table. But next target 16,064 could get hit. Did we already get that? What was the high today? 16,057, not quite there. I'm just going to pull this off anyways. Major support coming back at 15,877. We don't even have a great pausing bar yet. So we do on the daily right here. So I'd have to come back to this major low. So next target would be 16,147. There is just no fear in this market. Not much going on in the notes. I'm watching for a bottoming pattern here. And a little bounce. 10-2s still caught in consolidation. Dollar index. We have the slight pullback today, but so far inside day. I'm going to be watching. I doubt it'll happen today, but if we now break above about 101.90, that will catch a lot of people. Crude. Pausing here, still the major support, 79.20 to 79.80. Watching for a bottoming pattern. So far, this is overall a bigger sideways correction. Getting out of overbought. And cycles getting back to the bottom. So we'll be watching for a potential break above that 200. But we might be setting up for a front run pattern today. Gold, not much. Watching for see if we get a bounce to form a head and shoulders. Remember, I'm watching for a longer term top in gold. Nothing much going on in silver. The Japanese 10-year still closing in on that 50, but nothing new today. The double bottom on the yen triggered. So watching for this to play out. The euro, again, there's not a great setup. This is very late in the game for the euro. Watching for a more significant top with weekly cycles at the top, which is why I'm watching for some strength to roll in the dollar. We still have the potential double in the pound, unless we really trade back up to, let's figure out what would invalidate it, 124.96. Bitcoin, strong rotation back up. So still rotation zone still holding with Bitcoin. Look at all the rotations that have been in here. Tesla, earnings tomorrow after the close. We break above about 191. Today and tomorrow, short-term target is just 191. I don't think that'll break out, but that's the short-term area. What else do we have? We have the spiders and the Qs. Spiders, we're trading 415.64, 416.27, 417.44 are still those levels. The prior high from last Friday was 415.09, so we're trading above that. So that would become support, and then it would be for the gap fill for 13.94. So I used yesterday's high then as a full pullback level, And on the rally, 416.27 and 417.44. For the Qs, 322.77. And then let's just see where these little reverse harmonics take us. Look at that. 322.76 and then 323.90 are your next Q levels. Trading 321.05, so your pullback level is about 320.65 to 320.36, and then it would be for the gap fill 318.84. Is there a trigger? No, this is not a double. There's no triggered double. It gets real interesting, Sterling, if you start getting a close above this 425 area, because you're into a clear path move and the breakdown zone's up here. So there's some nice targets to utilize there. FXI. Daily double. Do you mean this? Daily double. This isn't a double. This is just when you these doubles and this is not a double. Your key resistance is right now 29.90. And by the way, is when you have with these kind of stuff, these test out lower. By the way, with the amount of gap and the way this trades. But no, there's nothing in FXI. I hate trading stuff like this unless it's a very long term, like a weekly. Because the dailies do not give you good levels. What else do we have here? Let's just peek at what came out, like LMT. Gap up against highs off a break above 500. The next key target is 506. You had Goldman Sachs, which gave multiple exit opportunities against the 200 with the double bottom target. Multiple up, and now we have the gap down today because they had a miss in revenue. What else? We have BAC, which crushed it, 3102 into a clear path move. Into a clear path move. If target areas, I'd use 3166, and then I'd use 32.99 as the next key target. And if we line up this low instead of the candle bodies, you're right there. OKE. I just watched for a pullback into the rotation zone. An OKE. That is a nice little double play that's run. I mean, a nice little dividend play, not double play. A nice little dividend play. So I'd watch for a pullback with this 50 in the bottom of the rotation zone. And a possible another re-entry up as a dividend play. Cycles are at the top, coming out of very overbought. So I would, from a long perspective, I would be a little patient. ALL. And then wow, I have not updated this chart in forever on this platform. Yeah, ALL triggered pullback. Remember, the pullback areas I like to watch for between the peak and the candle bodies right before the peak. So that is still, and that, do not ignore that 118.93 target area, the first target area, because of the 50 there. And by the way, the stop is on a close below 107.27 still, because it hasn't hit the target area. PNC. See, I'd trade something that looks a lot better. PNC did release earnings, but it was a beat miss, and I wouldn't bother with it. If you're going to trade something in financials, I'd trade one of those much stronger ones. Because this, even on a rally, is still back into key resistance. I looked at this the other day, and it just would return to the rotation zone on the weekly. I don't like that one. I'd trade something stronger. Home Depot. The only thing for me right now is there's some major overhead resistance at 300 to 301, so I'm not interested unless it really starts getting some strength above the 200 for something. All right, JNJ flat after earnings. I can't go through. We'll do some more after the close. We'll just look at J&J. Yeah, I'm surprised that's so flat on that beat, but you do have a fair amount of overhead resistance. What's interesting, though, is if this thing does break down, let's see. Yep. No. Yeah, it is. It is a double. Could take it back to the gap fill. So I'd be watching if this does do a rollover play. It has to close, and I'd want a daily close below 163.42 into the rotation zone and a partial gap fill. So that could be interesting if it gets a rollover play. But I would not try to front run that one. Would I trade the 4-hour double bottom in Schwab? No. This? Nah, if anything, I'd just use a target of 55.21 if you're looking for, if it breaks. If you get on a move above 53, I'd just target 55.21. All right, let me peek back at the S&P. Going into the open. Support area I'd be watching is 41.90. If it does break below that with weak internals, but that, I mean, it's scalpy to the downside because you're going into all the rotation zones. So there's, unless we got major downside momentum, there isn't a lot to do from a downside perspective to me unless we get really weak internals. So, as we don't have a significant topping pattern yet. All right, I will be back after the close. I'll check out where'd you post it, Christoph, in Discord? Just let me know where you posted the Bob photo, and I shall talk. You can PM me in Discord, and I will talk to everyone later. Bye for now.